Hi guys, tonight, we travel back into a world that feels very far away. A world of warm river water and slow-moving boats. A world where the first light of morning touched endless fields beside the Nile, and where ordinary people woke each day knowing exactly what was expected of them. The night is quiet. The stars hang above the dark land of Egypt. The river moves softly through the darkness, carrying cool air across the sleeping countryside. Along its banks stand villages made from mud brick. Their walls are pale beneath the moonlight. Their roofs are flat and still. Most doors are closed now. Most fires have burned low. Inside these homes, families sleep close together. A worker rests on a simple woven mat. A child sleeps beside a clay wall, still holding a little warmth from the day. An elderly grandmother lies quietly near the doorway where a faint breeze enters from outside. The sounds of the village are few. A distant dog barks once. A donkey shifts its weight. The Nile whispers softly beyond the fields. And for a few precious hours, the people of Egypt rest. Tomorrow will be another long day. For ordinary Egyptians, life followed many rules. Some rules came from local officials. Some came from temple authorities. Some came from tradition itself. Many were simply accepted because they had always existed. Children learned these expectations from parents. Parents learned them from grandparents. Generation after generation moved through familiar routines, rarely questioning the order of things. Long before sunrise, movement begins inside the village. A woman wakes first. The room is dark. The air is cooler now than it will be later. She rises carefully, trying not to wake everyone else. Her bare feet touch the packed earth floor. She moves toward the small grinding stone. Outside, darkness still covers the fields. Inside, work has already begun. Grain must be prepared. Bread must be baked. Water must be collected. The household depends upon these tasks. Egyptian life was built upon routine. The Nile brought life, but it also demanded labor. Fields needed attention. Animals needed care. Food needed preparation. Every day carried responsibilities. For many people, there was little choice about how time would be spent. The woman begins grinding grain. The sound is slow and steady. Stone against stone. Back and forth. Back and forth. She has performed this task thousands of times. Her mother did the same. Her grandmother before her. The work is tiring. Even before sunrise, muscles begin to ache. But the bread cannot make itself. Nearby, another family is already awake. A father steps outside into the darkness. He stretches stiff shoulders. Yesterday was long. Tomorrow will be long. Today will be long as well. He looks toward the river. Soon the eastern horizon will begin to glow. Soon workers will move toward fields and workshops. Soon another day under Egypt's strict social order will begin. The world around him feels quiet and endless. Palm trees stand motionless against the sky. The stars slowly fade. The scent of damp earth rises from nearby irrigation channels. Everything feels calm. Yet beneath that calm waits a full day of effort. Most Egyptians were farmers. The land beside the Nile supported enormous numbers of people. The river flooded each year. When floodwaters withdrew, rich dark soil remained. This soil made farming possible. But farming demanded constant attention. The government kept careful records. Officials monitored harvests. Taxes were collected. Land was measured. Workers often found themselves connected to systems far larger than their own villages. A farmer might never meet a king. He might never see a royal palace. Yet decisions made far away still shaped his daily life. As dawn approaches, faint colors spread across the horizon. The village begins to wake completely. Doors open. Voices emerge. Donkeys bray. Children rub sleep from their eyes. A young boy carries a clay jar toward a communal water source. The jar feels heavy. He shifts it from one arm to the other. His day is beginning early. Like everyone else, he has responsibilities. Children in Egypt often worked from a young age. Life required many helping hands. Families depended on one another. Everyone contributed. The village slowly fills with movement. Women prepare food. Men gather tools. Older children help younger siblings. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Fresh bread begins to bake. The smell drifts through narrow pathways between homes. For a moment, there is comfort in these familiar routines. A simple meal waits before the labor of the day. Flat bread. Perhaps onions. Perhaps dates. Maybe a little beer made from grain. Nothing elaborate. Nothing wasteful. Food existed to provide strength for work ahead. As sunlight spreads across the landscape, workers leave the village. Some head toward fields. Others travel toward workshops. Some walk to docks beside the Nile. A few make their way toward government projects. Sandals strike dusty roads. Voices remain quiet. The heat has not yet arrived. These early hours are often the most pleasant. The desert beyond the fertile land remains silent. The river glows gold beneath the rising sun. Birds move through reeds along the shoreline. Everything appears peaceful. Yet the rhythm of labor is already underway. For many Egyptians, strict rules shaped nearly every part of existence. Society operated through hierarchy. Everyone understood their position. Everyone understood expectations. A farmer was expected to farm. A laborer was expected to labor. A scribe was expected to record information accurately. A servant was expected to serve. Movement between social levels was possible in some cases, but daily life generally followed established paths. People knew where they belonged. They knew what duties awaited them. And they knew consequences could follow if responsibilities were neglected. Far from the fields, a young scribe begins his morning. His life differs from that of a farmer. His hands are softer. His work requires knowledge rather than physical strength. But rules shape his world as well. He sits carefully with writing materials. Papyrus lies before him. Ink waits nearby. Records must be maintained. Numbers must be accurate. Taxes must be documented. Inventories must be checked. Egypt depended upon writing. Without records, officials could not manage land, crops, labor, or supplies. The scribe bends over his work. The morning remains cool. Sunlight enters through an open doorway. Dust floats gently through the air. His task requires patience. Every mark matters. Every line serves a purpose. Not far away, builders prepare for another day of physical labor. Many government projects relied upon organized workers. Construction sites could be busy places. Stone blocks waited to be moved. Tools waited to be used. Supervisors watched carefully. Orders were given. Schedules were followed. The work could be exhausting. The sun climbed higher. Heat settled over the land. Sweat covered faces. Yet work continued. For ordinary laborers, stopping was rarely an option. As morning advances, the village behind them grows quieter. Most adults are gone now. Only younger children, elderly people, and those managing household tasks remain. Inside one mud brick home, an elderly man sits near a doorway. He watches sunlight slowly move across the floor. His working years are mostly behind him. His body carries memories of decades spent in fields. His hands are rough. His back aches. His knees hurt. Such discomfort is familiar. Many workers reached old age carrying signs of long labor. Life in ancient Egypt could be rewarding in some ways. Families shared strong connections. Communities often supported one another. Religious traditions offered comfort. But physical work left lasting marks upon the body. By late morning, heat begins to dominate everything. The air feels heavier. Shadows shrink. Workers wipe sweat from their faces. Farmers continue tending crops. Irrigation channels require maintenance. Plants require attention. Animals require care. The Nile provides life, but only through constant effort. A fisherman stands beside shallow water. His boat rocks gently. The river surface reflects sunlight like polished metal. He checks nets carefully. Fishing supports many families. Fish provide valuable food. But success is never guaranteed. Some days bring abundance. Others bring little. Still, he returns to the river again and again. The Nile remains central to everything. Transportation, food, trade, agriculture, religion. Daily life flows around the river just as surely as the river flows through Egypt. Hours pass slowly beneath the growing heat. Dust rises from roads. Workers continue their tasks. Officials continue their records. Merchants continue their business. Everywhere, routines unfold according to expectations established long ago. And through all of it, ordinary Egyptians move carefully within a world shaped by rules, duties, and responsibilities. The sun climbs higher. The fields shimmer beneath the brightness. The river glides quietly onward. And another ancient day continues to unfold beneath the endless Egyptian sky. The sun continues its slow climb across the Egyptian sky. Morning gradually gives way to the long middle hours of the day. The pleasant coolness that arrived before dawn has now disappeared. Heat settles over the land like a heavy blanket. The air feels still. Even the birds seem quieter beneath the brightness. Across the fertile strip beside the Nile, ordinary people continue their work. They have little choice. The day moves according to expectations that have existed for generations. A farmer cannot simply decide to ignore his field. A fisherman cannot remain in bed while his family waits for food. A baker cannot leave grain unground. Every task connects to another task. Every responsibility supports another responsibility. Life continues through routine. In a field not far from the river, a farmer pauses briefly and wipes sweat from his forehead. The soil beneath his feet is dark and rich. The Nile has always been generous in that way. Each flood leaves behind fertile earth. Yet fertile earth alone does not create a harvest. Hands are required. Strong backs are required. Long hours are required. The farmer knows this well. His father knew it. His grandfather knew it. He bends once more to his work. Nearby, his oldest son carries a simple tool across the field. The boy is still young. His shoulders are narrow. His face remains soft with youth. But childhood in ancient Egypt often included responsibility. Many children learned practical work early in life. There were animals to feed, water to carry, fields to help maintain. Family survival depended upon cooperation. The boy works quietly beside his father. The sun warms his skin. Dust gathers around his sandals. Neither speaks much. The rhythm of labor often leaves little room for conversation. Instead there is the sound of wind moving through distant reeds. The soft call of birds near the river. The scrape of tools against soil. The occasional voice carried across the fields. All of it blends into the familiar music of daily life. Farther away, along a narrow road, merchants travel between settlements. The road itself is simple. It winds across dry ground beside cultivated land. Donkeys carry goods in woven baskets. The merchants move steadily beneath the sun. Trade brings movement to Egypt. Villages depend upon products made elsewhere. Pottery, cloth, oil, tools, wood, grain. Though most people live close to where they were born, goods travel much farther. The merchants understand this network well. They know which villages need supplies. They know which docks are busiest. They know where officials collect taxes. Rules follow them wherever they go. Permits may be required. Records may be checked. Payments may be expected. Order remains important. The kingdom functions because information flows alongside goods. Near a riverside settlement, a group of women gather beside large grinding stones. The work is repetitive, slow, physical. Their hands move almost automatically. Grain becomes flour. Flour becomes dough. Dough becomes bread. The process repeats every day. One woman pauses and stretches her arms. The motion brings brief relief. Grinding grain is harder than many outsiders might imagine. Hours of pushing stone against stone place great strain upon the body. Wrists ache. Shoulders grow tired. Backs become stiff. Yet the work must continue. Families depend upon bread. Bread remains at the center of daily meals. The scent of baking drifts through nearby homes. Warm air carries it along narrow pathways. Children notice immediately. A small girl peeks through a doorway. She watches as dough is shaped. Her eyes follow every movement. One day she will perform these same tasks. She will learn recipes. She will learn household routines. She will learn the expectations placed upon women within Egyptian society. Many of those lessons begin long before adulthood. The world teaches through observation, through repetition, through participation. Not far away, inside a crowded workshop, another kind of labor unfolds. The room feels warmer than the streets outside. Furnaces glow softly. Tools rest on wooden surfaces. Workers concentrate carefully. Some shape pottery. Others prepare materials. Others carry finished goods. The atmosphere is busy but not hurried. Work follows a steady pace. The men and women inside understand their roles. Each person contributes to the final result. Their hands move with experience gained through years of practice. The workshop smells of clay, smoke, dust, and warm air. Sunlight enters through small openings in the walls. Thin beams illuminate floating particles. The scene feels almost timeless. Outside, the kingdom changes. Rulers come and go. Officials rise and fall. But ordinary labor continues much as it always has. As midday approaches, the heat becomes intense. The landscape seems to shimmer. Roads appear almost empty. People seek shade whenever possible. A tree beside an irrigation channel becomes a treasured refuge. A wall casts a narrow strip of shadow. A simple roof offers protection from direct sunlight. Workers pause when they can. Not for long. Just enough to drink water. Just enough to rest aching muscles. Just enough to prepare for the next task. Near the river, fishermen pull in their nets. Water drips from woven fibers. The Nile sparkles beneath the bright sky. Fish twist and flash in the sunlight. The fishermen work together. One man steadies the boat. Another organizes the catch. A third checks the condition of the net. The work requires cooperation. Many activities in Egypt do. No family survives entirely alone. Communities depend upon shared effort. Along the riverbank, reeds sway gently. A warm breeze finally arrives. It carries the scent of water across the land. For a brief moment, relief spreads through the air. Workers lift their faces toward it. Even a small breeze feels valuable beneath such heat. The Nile offers many gifts. Water, food, transportation, and sometimes simple comfort. A little farther north, a government official reviews records beneath a shaded structure. Papyrus sheets lie neatly arranged before him. Numbers fill the pages. Harvest estimates. Tax obligations. Labor assignments. Storage inventories. Egypt's rulers depend heavily upon such information. Records help maintain order. Without records, confusion grows. Without records, supplies disappear. Without records, officials lose control. The man studies each document carefully. Nearby, a young assistant waits quietly. He carries additional materials. He observes every movement. Perhaps he hopes to become a skilled scribe one day. Literacy remains valuable. Not everyone can read or write. Those who can often hold positions of respect. Yet even scribes operate within strict systems. Accuracy matters. Mistakes carry consequences. Their work may be less physical than farming, but responsibility remains constant. As the afternoon slowly unfolds, life inside the villages becomes active once more. Some workers return briefly. Others continue labor nearby. Children play in narrow open spaces between homes. Their games are simple. Their laughter rises above the quiet sounds of daily life. For a little while, the burden of responsibility feels lighter. A mother sits near a doorway repairing clothing. The fabric rests across her lap. Her fingers move steadily. Nearby, a baby sleeps. The room is dim and cool compared to the bright street outside. Mud brick walls help protect against heat. These homes may appear simple, but they are carefully adapted to the environment. Thick walls hold back much of the day's warmth. Flat roofs sometimes become useful gathering places after sunset. Small openings allow air to move through living spaces. Comfort remains relative, of course. The heat can still be exhausting. But generations of experience have shaped these homes. People understand how to live within this landscape. The afternoon stretches onward. Hours pass slowly. The sky remains cloudless. The sun remains strong. Workers continue moving through routines that feel both demanding and familiar. Some haul materials. Some harvest crops. Some prepare food. Some manage records. Some repair tools. Each task contributes to the larger life of the kingdom. And beneath all of it lies a shared understanding. Everyone has obligations. Everyone has duties. Everyone is expected to fulfill a role. These expectations shape childhood. They shape adulthood. They shape entire communities. As the light slowly begins to soften, subtle changes appear across the land. Shadows lengthen. The brightness loses some of its intensity. The hottest hours gradually pass. A feeling of relief spreads quietly among workers. The end of the workday remains some distance away. Yet evening is coming. People can sense it. Farmers glance toward the lowering sun. Merchants adjust loads upon their animals. Fishermen guide boats toward shore. Women prepare for evening meals. Children drift closer to home. The rhythm of the day begins to change. A farmer straightens his back and looks across the fields. The sight before him is familiar. Green growth near irrigation channels. Palm trees standing against the horizon. The distant gleam of the Nile. Dusty paths connecting one settlement to another. He has seen these things every day of his life. And still they bring a quiet sense of belonging. The work is difficult. The rules are strict. The days are long. Yet this landscape is home. The river has nourished his family for generations. Its waters connect countless lives. Its cycles shape the calendar itself. Without the Nile, everything would be different. Without the Nile, Egypt would not exist as people know it. The farmer gathers his tools. The afternoon slowly fades. A cooler evening waits somewhere ahead. The first hints of shadow stretch across the fields. And all across ancient Egypt, ordinary people continue moving through another day of labor, duty, routine, and quiet endurance beneath the calm and timeless sky. The afternoon light softens little by little. Across the fertile lands beside the Nile, shadows begin to stretch across fields and pathways. The heat remains, but its sharp edge slowly fades. Workers notice the change immediately. The air feels easier to breathe. Muscles that have labored since dawn begin to anticipate rest. The day is not finished. There are still tasks to complete. There are always tasks to complete. Yet evening is approaching, and with it comes a quieter rhythm. A farmer walks slowly along the edge of his field. The soil beneath his sandals is dry on the surface but rich below. Irrigation channels carry water where it is needed. He pauses beside one of these channels and studies the flow. Water is precious. Rules surrounding water are important. Entire communities depend upon careful management of the river's gifts. The timing of irrigation matters. The maintenance of canals matters. The sharing of resources matters. If one person neglects responsibilities, others may suffer. So the farmer inspects the channel carefully. The water moves steadily through the narrow path. Satisfied, he continues on. Nearby, another worker repairs a simple fence. The task seems small. Yet small tasks often fill much of daily life. A broken fence may allow animals to wander. A damaged storage jar may waste grain. A neglected roof may leak during rare storms. Ordinary Egyptians spend much of their lives solving practical problems. Not grand problems. Not dramatic problems. Simple problems that return again and again. A loose rope. A cracked tool. A worn sandal. A damaged basket. Each repair requires time. Each repair requires effort. And together they shape the texture of everyday existence. Along a dusty road, merchants continue their journeys. The worst of the heat has passed. Donkeys move at a steady pace. Their hooves leave shallow marks in the earth. The merchants know these roads well. Many have traveled them countless times. Certain bends reveal familiar landmarks. A grove of palms. A small shrine. A cluster of houses. A riverside dock. The landscape unfolds slowly around them. Travel in ancient Egypt rarely feels hurried. Journeys require patience. The pace of walking animals sets the rhythm. The movement of boats depends upon wind and current. People learn to accept gradual progress. As one merchant walks, he notices smoke rising from distant homes. Evening meals are already being prepared. The sight feels comforting. Every village produces the same familiar signs at this hour. Cooking fires. Voices carrying through narrow lanes. Children returning home. Animals being gathered for the night. The kingdom is vast, yet many routines are shared. Far from the road, near the edge of the river, fishermen guide their boats toward shore. The Nile glows beneath the lowering sun. Its surface reflects shades of gold and copper. Gentle ripples spread behind each vessel. The fishermen work quietly. The day has been long. Conversation comes in brief exchanges. A few words. A nod. A gesture. The catch is examined. Fish are sorted. Equipment is checked. Nets are inspected for damage. Tomorrow they will return again. The river provides, but only through constant effort. One fisherman pauses for a moment and gazes across the water. The sight before him has changed little throughout generations. Reeds sway gently. Birds move through the shallows. Palm trees line portions of the shore. The river continues its endless journey northward. Many people think of kings when they imagine ancient Egypt. They imagine temples and monuments. They imagine great ceremonies. But for this fisherman, Egypt is simpler. It is water beneath a boat. A net in tired hands. The scent of river mud. The feeling of evening air after a hot day. His Egypt is the Egypt of ordinary people. As the sun sinks lower, villages become busier. People return from fields and workshops. Dust rises beneath countless sandals. Voices fill the air. Doors open. Children rush to greet parents. Animals are guided into enclosed areas. The day shifts from public labor to family life. Inside a mudbrick home, a woman kneads dough. Her hands move steadily. She has performed this task so often that little thought is required. Nearby, bread bakes. The scent fills the room. Warm and comforting. Simple and familiar. A small oil lamp waits nearby, ready for darkness. The room remains dim even during daylight. Thick walls protect against heat. Small openings allow limited sunlight inside. The home feels modest. Yet it offers shelter. A place to rest. A place to gather. A place where family life unfolds. Children sit nearby. One boy watches the bread carefully. His stomach is already hungry. Another child listens as an older relative tells a story. Stories often accompany evening hours. Not elaborate tales every night. Sometimes only memories. A recollection of a flood. A memory of a harvest. A lesson passed from one generation to another. Knowledge moves through conversation. Experience becomes guidance. And slowly, traditions continue. In another home, an elderly woman carefully examines a woven basket. A section has become loose. The fibers need attention. Even after long years of labor, many older people continue contributing where they can. Age may reduce strength. It may slow movement. But experience remains valuable. The elderly often carry knowledge that younger people still need. They remember seasons from long ago. They remember local customs. They remember family histories. Their memories become a bridge between generations. Outside, the sky changes color. The brilliant brightness of afternoon fades into softer tones. Orange light touches village walls. Palm trees cast long shadows. The Nile reflects the changing sky. A gentle breeze moves through the settlement. People welcome it gladly. After the heavy heat of day, even a modest breeze feels refreshing. A group of laborers walks home together. Their clothing carries dust from the day's work. Their faces show signs of fatigue. Their muscles ache. The physical demands of ancient Egyptian life are constant. Many workers spend years carrying heavy loads. Digging earth. Cutting stone. Transporting materials. Operating tools. The body adapts, but it also wears down. Pain becomes familiar. Not dramatic pain. Not sudden pain. The slow accumulation of strain. The kind that settles into joints and muscles over time. Yet despite exhaustion, there is comfort in returning home. Comfort in knowing the workday is ending. Comfort in seeing familiar faces. Comfort in simple routines. As evening deepens, meals are shared. Families gather where space allows. Food remains modest. Bread appears once again. Vegetables may accompany it. Fish if available. Fruit when possible. Beer brewed from grain remains common. Meals provide nourishment, but they also provide connection. This is one of the few moments when many families can spend time together. The pressures of labor ease temporarily. Conversations unfold. Children speak about their day. Adults discuss work. Plans are made for tomorrow. Tasks are remembered. Responsibilities are assigned. Life continues through these small interactions. Nearby, a young scribe sits beneath fading daylight. His work is not yet complete. Papyrus rests before him. The final records of the day require attention. The kingdom depends upon documentation. Fields must be measured. Supplies must be counted. Taxes must be recorded. Labor obligations must be tracked. The work may seem distant from farming. Yet the two are deeply connected. The grain harvested in the fields eventually appears in records. The workers themselves appear in records. The movement of resources appears in records. Writing helps maintain the structure of society. The young scribe carefully completes another line. His eyes feel tired. His hand aches slightly. Even intellectual labor carries its own forms of fatigue. Beyond the villages, larger towns prepare for night. Markets begin to quiet. Workshops close. Merchants secure their goods. Animals settle. The noise of daily activity slowly decreases. The pace of life softens. Darkness approaches. The first stars begin to appear. One by one. Small points of light emerging above the desert horizon. Many Egyptians spend time observing the sky. The stars provide beauty. They provide orientation. They also carry religious significance. The heavens feel closed during these quiet hours, especially after the intense brightness of day. Along the Nile, boats rock gently beside docks. Ropes creak softly. Water laps against wooden hulls. The sounds are peaceful. The river never truly becomes silent. Its presence remains constant. Day and night. Season after season. Generation after generation. A father stands outside his home and looks toward the water. The evening air brushes gently against his face. His work is finished for today. Tomorrow will bring more labor. More responsibilities. More expectations. But those concerns belong to another sunrise. For now, darkness is arriving. For now, the village grows calm. Oil lamps begin to glow inside homes. Small circles of warm light appear behind doorways and windows. Voices become quieter. The pace of movement slows. The kingdom itself seems to exhale. And under the deepening sky of ancient Egypt, ordinary people settle into the peaceful evening hours, carrying the weight of another completed day while preparing, little by little, for the silence of night. Night settles gently across the land. The last traces of sunlight disappear beyond the western horizon. The bright heat of day becomes a memory. In its place comes darkness, cooler air, and a slower rhythm that spreads across villages beside the Nile. The river continues moving through the night. It always moves. Long after farmers leave their fields. Long after merchants finish their journeys. Long after officials roll up their records and extinguish their lamps. The Nile remains awake. Its waters slide quietly through the darkness beneath the stars. In a small village, oil lamps flicker inside mud-brick homes. The light is soft and golden. Shadows move gently across walls. The rooms themselves are simple. A few storage jars. Woven baskets. Tools resting in corners. Sleeping mats carefully arranged on the floor. Nothing appears extravagant. Most ordinary Egyptians live modest lives. Their homes are built for practicality rather than display. Every object serves a purpose. Every possession has value. Inside one home, a family finishes its evening meal. The bread is gone now. The final pieces have been shared. Clay cups sit empty. A child fights sleep while listening to the voices of adults. His eyes grow heavy. His head nods forward. The day has been long even for him. Eventually his mother smiles and gently guides him toward a sleeping mat. The boy lies down without protest. Within moments he is asleep. Children often sleep quickly after sunset. The world itself encourages rest. Without bright artificial lights, darkness naturally brings quietness. People tend to rise early. And so they often sleep early as well. Outside, a breeze moves through narrow village pathways. The air carries the scent of earth, river water, smoke, and distant vegetation. The atmosphere feels different now. The demands of labor have faded. For a few hours, people are allowed to simply exist. To rest. To recover. To gather strength for tomorrow. An elderly man sits outside his home. He enjoys these nighttime moments. The heat no longer presses against his skin. The sounds of work have disappeared. Instead he hears crickets. The occasional call of a bird. The soft voices of neighbors speaking nearby. He looks upward. The sky is filled with stars. In ancient Egypt, the night sky appears vast beyond description. Far from modern cities and bright lights, countless stars shine overhead. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a pale river of light. Constellations rise and fall through the seasons. Many people know these patterns well. Farmers, sailors, priests, travelers. The stars are companions in a world deeply connected to nature. The old man studies them quietly. Perhaps he remembers younger years. Perhaps he thinks about family members no longer living. Perhaps he simply enjoys the peaceful beauty above him. No one rushes him. Night encourages patience. Nearby, a woman prepares for sleep after a full day of labor. Her hands are tired. Her shoulders ache. She spent hours grinding grain, preparing meals, carrying water, managing household tasks, caring for children. The work never truly stops. Even now she notices small chores that could be completed before morning. But exhaustion wins. Tomorrow will arrive soon enough. For tonight, rest is more important. She extinguishes a lamp. Darkness fills part of the room. The remaining light dances softly on nearby walls. Soon that light will disappear as well. Across the village, similar scenes unfold. Families settle. Doors close. Conversations become whispers. The pace of life slows almost to stillness. Yet not everyone sleeps. Some occupations require nighttime work. A watchman walks slowly along a path near storage buildings. His task is simple. Remain alert. Protect supplies. Observe anything unusual. The village depends upon grain reserves. Food storage is important, particularly during years when harvests may be uncertain. The watchman carries a small lamp. Its glow moves through the darkness. Step after step. The night remains calm. Only the sounds of insects accompany him. Farther away, along the river, a boat drifts beneath starlight. Its crew works quietly. Travel sometimes continues after sunset, especially when conditions are favorable. The water reflects the stars above. The boundary between river and sky becomes difficult to see. Everything feels peaceful. The crew speaks in low voices. The sound of oars enters the water gently. Each movement creates small ripples that disappear into darkness. The Nile has carried people through the night for thousands of years. It remains a trusted path through the landscape. Within larger towns, some workshops continue operating after sunset, particularly during busy periods. A potter shapes clay beneath lamplight. His hands move with practiced skill. The wheel turns steadily. The clay responds to gentle pressure. A vessel slowly takes shape. The work feels almost meditative. The world outside grows quiet. Inside the workshop, concentration remains. The potter does not hurry. He understands that careful work produces better results. Patience matters. Many crafts require patience. Ancient life often moves at a pace that allows skill to develop slowly. Years of repetition create expertise. The potter learned from another craftsman. That craftsman learned from someone before him. Knowledge travels through generations. Like the Nile itself, traditions continue flowing forward. As the hours pass, temperatures fall slightly. People sleep more comfortably now. In one home, a family shares a rooftop sleeping area. The roof provides cooler air than the room below. They lie beneath the stars. Blankets are simple. The night breeze is gentle. A child points upward and asks a question about a bright star. His father answers softly. Soon the child falls asleep before hearing the end of the explanation. The father smiles. The star remains overhead. Silent and distant. The village grows quieter still. Dogs curl beside doorways. Animals settle into rest. Even the wind seems softer. Only occasional sounds disturb the silence. A creaking rope. A distant splash from the river. A donkey shifting in its sleep. The sounds are small. Gentle. Comforting. Night provides more than rest. It also provides a temporary escape from the strict structure of daytime responsibilities. During daylight, people follow schedules, obligations, rules, expectations. But during these peaceful hours, much of that pressure fades. A farmer is no longer actively farming. A merchant is no longer negotiating. A laborer is no longer carrying heavy loads. Everyone becomes simply a human being resting beneath the same sky. Of course, the social order remains. The kingdom's rules still exist. Officials still maintain records. Taxes will still be collected. Work will still begin before sunrise. Yet for a brief period each night, those concerns move into the background. Sleep becomes the great equalizer. Rich and poor alike close their eyes. Dreams belong to everyone. Some people dream of successful harvests. Some dream of family. Some dream of rivers and boats. Others dream of places they have never seen. No records survive to tell us exactly what ordinary Egyptians dreamed about. But they surely dreamed. Just as people do today. The human mind seeks rest after effort. The body seeks recovery after labor. And ancient Egyptians experienced these needs as deeply as anyone. Near midnight, the village reaches its quietest point. Most lamps are gone. Most voices have disappeared. Only darkness and starlight remain. The moon rises above the landscape. Its pale glow touches rooftops and palm trees. It shines upon fields waiting for dawn. It reflects upon the Nile. The entire world appears silver and calm. A fisherman sleeping beside his boat turns slightly in his sleep. A farmer breathes deeply on a woven mat. A child curls closer to family members. The kingdom rests. For now. Tomorrow's work has not yet arrived. Tomorrow's heat remains hidden beyond the horizon. Tomorrow's responsibilities still sleep beneath the stars. And so the night continues peacefully. The Nile flows onward through darkness. The moon drifts slowly across the sky. Ancient villages rest in silence. And ordinary Egyptians, worn by labor yet comforted by familiar routines, sleep quietly beneath the endless heavens, gathering strength for another day that waits somewhere beyond the coming dawn. The night moves onward in silence. Hours pass unnoticed by those who sleep. The moon slowly crosses the sky above the Nile. Stars drift westward. Cool air settles over the fields and pathways. The land feels peaceful now, almost suspended between yesterday and tomorrow. For a little while, Egypt rests. The fields are empty. The roads are quiet. The workshops stand dark. The markets are silent. Only the river continues its endless journey through the darkness. Its waters slide gently past villages, temples, docks, and farms, connecting countless lives that sleep along its banks. The deepest hours of the night eventually begin to fade. Very slowly, almost invisibly, the world prepares for another morning. A faint chill lingers in the air. The darkness remains complete. Yet somewhere beyond the eastern horizon, the sun is already beginning its return. Most people remain asleep. Inside a mudbrick home, a laborer lies on a woven mat. His body is still. His breathing is steady. The previous day left him exhausted. His shoulders ache from carrying heavy materials. His hands are rough from years of work. His feet bear the marks of long walks across dusty roads and stone surfaces. Rest is precious. Sleep is one of the few comforts that asks nothing in return. Nearby, his wife sleeps as well. Tomorrow she will rise before the sun. She will prepare food, carry water, manage household responsibilities, care for family members. The work awaiting her is different from her husband's, yet no less demanding. Ancient Egyptian households depend upon constant effort from everyone inside them. Even children contribute. Even the elderly often find ways to help. The kingdom functions because countless ordinary people perform countless ordinary tasks. As the night deepens toward dawn, a temple worker awakens. His duties begin earlier than most. He rises quietly. The air inside the room feels cool against his skin. Outside, darkness still covers the land. The village remains asleep. The stars shine brightly overhead. He steps into the night and begins walking. His sandals press softly against the earth. The path ahead is familiar. He has traveled it many times before. The temple stands in the distance, silent and waiting. Religious life touches nearly every part of Egyptian society. Temples are important places. Not only for worship, but also for administration, storage, and local organization. Many workers spend their lives serving within these institutions. Some clean sacred spaces. Some prepare offerings. Some maintain records. Some manage supplies. Like every other occupation, temple work follows routines and expectations. The worker continues walking beneath the stars. The silence feels almost sacred. Only his footsteps accompany him. Farther away, along a riverbank, another figure is already awake. A fisherman sits beside his boat. He has learned that the quietest hours often bring the greatest peace. The river appears dark and endless. Moonlight reflects softly across the water. He listens to gentle waves touching the shore. For a few moments he simply sits. No nets. No labor. No responsibilities. Just stillness. These moments are rare. Life leaves little room for idleness. Soon enough he will begin preparing for the day. But not yet. For now, he enjoys the calm. The Nile has a way of encouraging reflection. Its presence feels constant, reliable, ancient. Many people find comfort beside its waters. Eventually, faint changes appear in the eastern sky. The darkness softens slightly. The stars lose a little of their brightness. The horizon becomes easier to distinguish. Morning approaches. The first people begin to stir. Inside villages, lamps flicker back to life. Doors open quietly. Figures emerge from homes. The cycle begins again. A woman kneels beside a grinding stone. Her day starts exactly where yesterday began. Grain waits to be prepared. The stone feels familiar beneath her hands. The movement becomes automatic. Back and forth. Back and forth. The sound returns to the village before sunrise. One household begins. Then another. Soon the soft rhythm can be heard throughout the settlement. The preparation of food is among the earliest tasks of the day. Without bread, labor becomes difficult. Without preparation, families cannot function. The work may seem repetitive. It is repetitive. Yet repetition forms the foundation of survival. Nearby, a young servant wakes within a larger household. His responsibilities begin immediately. Water must be fetched. Rooms must be cleaned. Instructions must be followed. Servants occupy a lower position within society's hierarchy. Their daily lives are often shaped by the needs of others. The rules governing behavior are clear. Respect must be shown. Tasks must be completed. Expectations must be met. The young servant understands this well. He dresses quickly. There is much to do before sunrise. Outside, more people emerge into the cool pre-dawn air. The village gradually comes alive. A donkey brays somewhere in the darkness. A rooster calls. Soft conversations begin. The sounds of waking life spread from home to home. The atmosphere feels different from later hours. The day has not yet become demanding. The heat has not yet arrived. Everything feels slower, gentler. For many workers, these moments are among the most pleasant parts of the day. A farmer steps outside and gazes toward the eastern horizon. A pale glow now stretches above the distant land. He takes a deep breath. The air smells of earth and water. Soon he will return to the fields. Soon another long day of labor will begin. Yet for now he simply stands and watches the coming sun rise. The scene is beautiful in its simplicity. Palm trees appear as dark silhouettes. The Nile reflects faint hints of light. Birds begin stirring among the reeds. The world feels fresh and renewed. As dawn approaches, tax collectors and local officials begin preparing for their own responsibilities. Records must be maintained. Harvests must be monitored. Labor obligations must be tracked. Ancient Egypt depends upon organization. The kingdom's rulers require information. How much grain was produced? How many workers are available? Which lands have been cultivated? What resources are stored? These questions shape administrative life. Behind the quiet beauty of villages and fields exists a complex system of management. Ordinary people encounter this system throughout their lives. Sometimes directly. Sometimes indirectly. A farmer may spend most of his days working the soil. Yet officials still measure harvests. Taxes still influence his household. Rules still affect his choices. The structure of society reaches into every corner of daily existence. Not through constant force. Often simply through routine. Expectation. Tradition. Habit. A young scribe arrives at a work area before sunrise. He carries writing materials carefully. The day ahead will involve numbers, inventories, and reports. His work demands concentration. Accuracy matters. A mistake in a record can create confusion. A missing number can become a problem. The scribe settles into place. Soon enough the work will begin. For now he watches the changing sky. Even those responsible for records and administration occasionally pause to appreciate the beauty around them. The sun has not yet appeared. But the world is clearly awakening. The eastern horizon glows brighter with each passing moment. Birdsong spreads across the landscape. The darkness retreats. The river changes color from silver to blue. Mist rises gently above certain stretches of water. Everything feels calm. Hopeful. Quiet. Near a cluster of homes, children begin waking. Some are eager. Some are reluctant. A small boy rubs sleep from his eyes. He hears adults already moving about. He smells bread baking. The day is beginning whether he feels ready or not. Soon he will help with tasks. Carry supplies. Watch animals. Assist family members. Childhood in ancient Egypt often includes responsibility, but it also includes moments of wonder. He pauses outside and stares at the brightening horizon. The sunrise captures his attention. For a few moments he forgets chores entirely. The first edge of the sun finally appears. Golden light spreads across the Nile. Fields glow softly. Village walls catch the morning brightness. Shadows retreat. Another day has arrived. Workers gather tools. Merchants prepare goods. Servants begin duties. Officials organize records. Fishermen ready boats. Bakers prepare ovens. The kingdom awakens together. The cycle continues. As it has for generations. As it will continue for generations more. And beneath the growing light of a new Egyptian morning, ordinary people once again step into lives shaped by work, duty, tradition, and countless unwritten rules, while the timeless Nile flows quietly beside them, carrying the ancient world forward into another day. The sun rises steadily above the eastern horizon. Golden light spreads across the Nile and reaches into villages that have already been awake for hours. The coolness of dawn begins to fade. Shadows shorten little by little. The promise of another warm day settles over the land. Across Egypt, ordinary people return to routines so familiar that many can perform them almost without thinking. The baker tends a fire. The farmer gathers tools. The fisherman prepares nets. The servant carries water. The scribe arranges writing materials. Each person knows where to go. Each person knows what must be done. The expectations of society are woven into daily life so completely that they feel as natural as the river itself. In one village, a farmer walks toward his fields with several family members beside him. The pathway is dusty. Fine sand gathers around their sandals. Palm trees stand quietly in the distance. The Nile glimmers nearby, reflecting the growing brightness of morning. The farmer carries a simple wooden tool across one shoulder. His son walks beside him carrying another. Neither speaks much. The day is still young. Their energy is being saved for work ahead. As they approach the fields, birds rise suddenly from the reeds. The sound of wings briefly fills the air. Then the birds disappear into the morning sky. The farmer pauses for a moment to watch them. The sight lasts only seconds. Soon he returns to the tasks waiting before him. Much of life is like this. Small moments of beauty appearing between long periods of labor. The fields require attention. Irrigation channels must be checked. Young plants must be monitored. Water must flow where it is needed. Agriculture in Egypt depends upon careful observation. Too little attention can damage an entire harvest. The farmer kneels beside a narrow channel and studies the movement of water. The current is steady. Everything appears in order. He nods quietly and moves on. Nearby, other farmers are already at work. The landscape slowly fills with activity. Figures move across the fields. Tools scrape against soil. Voices carry through the morning air. The countryside awakens fully. Meanwhile, along the Nile, fishermen push small boats into the water. The river is calm. Gentle ripples spread outward as each vessel moves away from shore. The fishermen work efficiently. Every motion has been practiced many times before. Nets are arranged carefully. Equipment is inspected. The condition of the boat is checked. Mistakes can be costly. A damaged net means lost opportunities. A neglected rope can create problems far from shore. Attention to detail matters. The river rewards preparation. As the boats drift farther from land, village sounds begin to fade. The fishermen hear mostly water now. The splash of oars. The rustle of reeds. The distant calls of birds. The Nile feels peaceful during these early hours. Almost untouched. The fishermen appreciate this quiet. Soon enough, the demands of the day will return. But for now, the river belongs to the morning. Back in the village, household activity continues. Women move between tasks with practiced efficiency. Bread is prepared. Water is carried. Clothing is repaired. Storage jars are inspected. Children are guided toward responsibilities appropriate to their age. A young girl helps organize baskets near a doorway. She works carefully. The task is simple, but important. Order matters inside the home. A well-organized household functions more smoothly. Food remains easier to manage. Tools remain easier to find. Daily life becomes slightly less difficult. The girl's mother watches with approval. Skills are taught gradually. One task at a time. One lesson at a time. Years pass this way. Knowledge moves quietly from one generation to the next. In another part of the settlement, a group of children accompanies an older family member toward a nearby water source. Clay jars rest against their hips. The jars feel heavy. The children shift them from arm to arm as they walk. Water collection is a normal part of life. Necessary. Frequent. The Nile provides abundance, but that abundance must still be carried home. The children chat softly among themselves. Occasionally they laugh. Their responsibilities are real, but childhood still finds room for simple joys. They notice birds. They point at animals. They exchange stories. The road becomes a place of learning as well as labor. Not far away, a workshop slowly fills with workers. The interior remains cooler than the open streets. Clay, wood, and stone wait to be shaped. Tools rest upon work surfaces. A craftsman arrives and immediately begins examining unfinished pieces from the previous day. His hands move carefully across the surface of a vessel. He studies its shape, its balance, its texture. Good craftsmanship requires patience. The worker understands this. Rushing creates mistakes. Care creates quality. Many Egyptian craftsmen spent decades perfecting their skills. Their work may not bring fame. Their names may never appear in records that survive thousands of years. Yet their labor fills homes, workshops, temples, and marketplaces across the kingdom. Ordinary lives depend upon their creations. As the morning advances, local officials begin moving through their own routines. Records must be reviewed. Reports must be updated. Measurements must be confirmed. The kingdom relies upon information. Officials may not spend their days in fields or workshops, but their work shapes the lives of those who do. A tax assessment. A labor assignment. A land measurement. Each decision influences someone else's day. A scribe sits beneath a shaded structure. Papyrus rests before him. Ink waits nearby. His posture remains straight. His attention remains focused. He writes steadily. Numbers. Names. Inventories. The work demands concentration. The pages before him represent real people. Real harvests. Real responsibilities. A missing entry can create confusion. An incorrect figure can cause problems. The scribe knows this. So he proceeds carefully. The sun climbs higher. The coolness of morning fades completely. Heat returns to the land. Workers feel it immediately. The pace of movement changes. Not slower exactly. More deliberate. Energy must be managed. The day is still long. A laborer carrying supplies pauses briefly beneath the shade of a wall. Sweat gathers on his forehead. His breathing deepens. The rest lasts only a moment. Then he continues. There is always more work waiting. Nearby, a merchant arranges goods for trade. Woven baskets. Pottery. Bundles of supplies. The merchant studies each item carefully. Successful trade requires organization. Customers expect reliability. Officials expect records. The merchant occupies an interesting position within society. Neither farmer nor craftsman. Neither laborer nor scribe. His work connects many different groups. He travels. Negotiates. Observes. Through trade, information moves along with goods. News of distant settlements often arrives through merchants long before official announcements. As the morning approaches midday, the village grows quieter in certain ways. People are busy. Concentrated. Focused. The playful sounds of dawn have faded. Labor dominates the hours now. A woman kneels beside a grinding stone. The motion is familiar. Stone against grain. Back and forth. Back and forth. The work requires strength. Many hours spent this way can be exhausting. Yet she continues steadily. The household depends upon her efforts. Fresh flour means bread. Bread means nourishment. Nourishment means the family can continue working. Every task connects to another. The chain of responsibility stretches through every home. Nearby, an elderly man sits in a shaded area watching village activity. His working years have largely passed. His body no longer allows the same labor it once did. But he remains part of the community. Neighbors greet him as they pass. Children occasionally stop to listen to his stories. His memory contains decades of experience. Floods, harvests, droughts, celebrations, losses. He has witnessed countless seasons beside the Nile. His knowledge carries value. Age may reduce physical strength, but wisdom often grows in its place. The old man watches workers crossing the village. He recognizes familiar patterns. The same rhythms he observed in his youth. The same routines followed by his parents before him. Some things change over time. Many things do not. The Nile continues flowing. The sun continues rising. People continue working. Life continues unfolding according to ancient patterns. The heat grows stronger. The light becomes brighter. Dust drifts through the air. The kingdom moves steadily through another morning. Across fields, workshops, riverbanks, and village pathways, ordinary Egyptians fulfill duties assigned by custom, necessity, and tradition. Their lives are rarely dramatic. Rarely recorded. Rarely remembered by future generations. Yet they form the true foundation of the ancient world. Without their labor, fields would remain empty. Boats would remain tied to shore. Bread would never reach tables. Records would never be written. Homes would never be maintained. The kingdom itself would falter. But none of this occupies their thoughts right now. They are focused on the next task. The next tool. The next basket. The next field. The next page. The next loaf of bread. The next hour beneath the sun. And so the morning continues to unfold peacefully beside the Nile, where countless ordinary lives move forward through routine, effort, and quiet determination beneath the warm and ever-brightening Egyptian sky. The morning slowly drifts toward midday. The sun climbs higher above the Nile, and with every passing hour the warmth deepens. Shadows that had stretched across roads and fields at dawn now grow smaller. The brightness becomes stronger. The air feels heavier. Across Egypt, people continue working. The pace of life does not stop simply because the day becomes hotter. Fields still require attention. Boats still move along the river. Workshops still produce goods. Records still need writing. Meals still need preparation. The kingdom continues forward through the steady labor of ordinary people. In a broad field near the river, a group of farmers works together beneath the growing sun. Their movements are practiced and efficient. Years of experience have taught them how to conserve energy. No motion is wasted. No effort is unnecessary. The heat demands respect. A farmer who pushes too hard during the hottest hours may find himself exhausted before the day is done. So the workers move steadily. Patiently. Methodically. The sound of tools rises softly above the surrounding countryside. Birds occasionally pass overhead. The river glimmers nearby. For a moment, a breeze moves across the field. Every worker notices it. Even the smallest breath of cooler air feels valuable. The breeze passes quickly. The heat remains. Not far away, a young boy carries water to his father. The jar is heavy. His arms ache slightly. But he continues walking. Helping family members is simply part of life. When he reaches the field, his father thanks him with a small smile. The boy sits briefly in the shade of a tree. For a few moments, he watches dragonflies moving above an irrigation channel. The insects dart across the water like tiny flashes of light. The scene feels peaceful. Then his father returns to work, and the boy soon returns to his own responsibilities. Throughout Egypt, children learn early that every person contributes. The lessons are rarely spoken directly. Instead, they are demonstrated through daily life. Children watch adults. Children imitate adults. Little by little, they grow into their roles. Along a dusty road connecting several settlements, merchants continue their journeys. The heat rises from the ground. The road appears almost white beneath the midday sun. Donkeys move steadily forward. Baskets sway gently with each step. The merchants keep cloth wrapped around their heads to shield themselves from the brightness. Travel during these hours is not easy. But trade follows schedules of its own. Goods must arrive. Orders must be filled. Promises must be honored. A merchant pauses briefly beside a small stand of palms. The trees cast a patch of welcome shade. He drinks water and looks toward the horizon. In the distance, he can see the faint outline of another settlement. More homes. More customers. More work. Soon he rises and continues onward. Nearby, on the Nile itself, boats move slowly through the sunlight. Some carry grain. Some transport stone. Others carry passengers. The river serves as a great pathway through Egypt. Travel by water is often easier than travel by land. The current helps. The river connects distant communities. The sight of boats moving along the Nile is common. So common that many people hardly notice them anymore. Yet each boat carries stories. Families. Workers. Merchants. Officials. Every vessel becomes a small piece of the larger kingdom. At a riverside dock, laborers unload supplies from a cargo boat. The work is demanding. Heavy bundles must be lifted. Storage areas must be organized. Instructions must be followed. The laborers move carefully beneath the supervision of an official. Order matters. Mistakes can create delays. Delays can create problems. The official watches quietly. A writing tablet rests nearby. Records will be updated once the work is complete. Everything is counted. Everything is tracked. Egypt's administrative system reaches into nearly every area of life. For ordinary people, this means that much of their labor eventually becomes part of a written record. Harvests. Taxes. Supplies. Work assignments. The kingdom depends upon information. Inside a shaded building not far from the dock, several scribes sit together. The room is cooler than the outside air. Papyrus sheets cover low tables. Ink pots sit within easy reach. The scribes work silently for long stretches of time. Only the scratching of reeds against papyrus breaks the quiet. One young scribe carefully copies figures from an older document. His concentration is complete. A single mistake could require correction later. He knows accuracy is important. The numbers before him represent real harvests gathered by real farmers. The records help officials understand what resources are available. The work may seem distant from the fields, yet it remains connected. Everything in Egypt is connected. The farmer grows grain. The laborer transports grain. The merchant trades grain. The official records grain. The baker turns grain into bread. One task leads naturally into another. The entire system depends upon cooperation. As midday arrives, the heat becomes intense. The sky is clear. The sunlight feels almost solid. Stone surfaces grow warm to the touch. Dust hangs motionless in the air. Workers seek shade whenever possible. A wall. A tree. A covered structure. Any protection from direct sunlight feels welcome. In one village, several women gather beneath a shaded area while continuing household tasks. The shade offers relief, but work does not stop. Clothing is repaired. Food is prepared. Children are supervised. Conversations unfold quietly as hands remain busy. One woman tells a story she heard from an elderly relative. The others listen while continuing their work. The story moves slowly. Like most things in life, no one rushes. The shade creates a calm atmosphere. For a little while, The harsh brightness remains outside. Children sit nearby listening. Some pay attention. Some become distracted by insects moving through the dust. Their world feels both large and small. Large because so much remains unknown. Small because daily life revolves around familiar places and familiar people. For most ordinary Egyptians, travel is limited. Many spend their entire lives within a relatively small area. Their understanding of the world comes through stories, merchants, travelers, and local traditions. Yet they rarely feel isolated. The village itself contains everything necessary for life. Food, work, family, community. The afternoon still lies ahead. There is little reason to think beyond immediate concerns. Near a market area, activity continues despite the heat. Merchants arrange goods beneath simple coverings. Customers move slowly from stall to stall. Pottery catches the sunlight. Baskets overflow with produce. Cloth hangs gently in the warm air. The market serves as more than a place of trade. It is also a place of conversation. People exchange news. Discuss harvests. Share observations about the river. Talk about local officials. The flow of information moves naturally through these gatherings. A farmer arriving from nearby fields may hear news he would otherwise never know. A merchant may learn which goods are most needed. A craftsman may find new customers. The market helps connect people. Yet even here, rules remain present. Weights must be fair. Transactions must be honest. Officials may occasionally inspect activity. Order remains important. The kingdom values stability. Throughout society, expectations guide behavior. People understand how they are expected to act. Children learn respect for elders. Workers learn respect for supervisors. Families learn obligations toward one another. The rules are not always written. Many exist through custom and tradition. They are passed from generation to generation. Repeated until they feel natural. A young servant working in a wealthy household understands these expectations well. He moves carefully through his duties. Water is carried. Rooms are cleaned. Instructions are followed. The household depends upon organization. The servant rarely questions the routine. The routine simply exists. Like the river. Like the seasons. Like the rising and setting of the sun. For many people, life is not about changing the system. Life is about finding one's place within it. As the hottest part of the day settles over Egypt, movement slows slightly. Not because work has ended. Because energy must be preserved. The heat demands patience. Farmers pause briefly beneath shade before returning to fields. Laborers drink water when available. Merchants sit quietly between customers. Even animals seek shelter from the brightness. The entire landscape seems to move more slowly. More carefully. The Nile alone appears unchanged. Its waters continue flowing with calm determination. The river does not hurry. The river does not struggle. It simply moves forward. Many people find comfort in that constancy. A fisherman resting beside his boat watches sunlight dancing across the water. The sight is familiar. He has seen it countless times. Yet it never loses its quiet beauty. The river offers moments like this. Small moments. Simple moments. Moments that make long days feel a little easier. Soon enough he will return to work. Everyone will. The afternoon still holds many hours. The sun still stands high overhead. Responsibilities still wait. Across villages, fields, workshops, docks, and roads, ordinary Egyptians continue fulfilling the duties that shape their lives. The heat presses down upon the land. The air shimmers above distant fields. The smell of warm earth rises beneath the bright sky. And another midday unfolds beside the timeless Nile, where generations of workers, families, and laborers move steadily through a world guided by tradition, routine, and the quiet discipline of everyday life. The long midday hours slowly begin to pass. The sun remains high above the Nile, but somewhere deep within the afternoon, subtle changes are already beginning. The brightest part of the day has reached its peak. The heat still blankets the land, yet time continues its quiet journey forward. Across Egypt, workers feel the weight of the hours behind them. Muscles grow tired. Hands become sore. Eyes narrow against the sunlight. But work continues. It almost always continues. In a field beside a narrow irrigation channel, a farmer pauses and straightens his back. For a moment he simply stands still. The movement feels good. His shoulders have been bent over tasks since early morning. His legs feel heavy. A thin layer of dust covers his sandals. The farmer looks across the landscape. The Nile glimmers in the distance. Palm trees sway gently where a breeze finds them. The sky stretches endlessly overhead. The scene feels calm despite the labor. For a brief moment he allows himself to appreciate it. Then he returns to work. Many moments in ancient Egypt are like this. Small pauses. Tiny breaths between responsibilities. Quiet observations made while carrying out ordinary tasks. Not far away, another group of workers clears debris from a canal. The work is difficult but important. Water must continue flowing properly. Fields depend upon these channels. Without maintenance, irrigation becomes less reliable. Without irrigation, crops suffer. The workers understand this. They grip simple tools and continue steadily. Mud clings to their legs. Sweat gathers across their skin. The work is unpleasant at times. Yet it remains necessary. Many essential tasks are rarely celebrated. They simply need to be done. And so ordinary people do them. Along a dusty road, several officials travel between settlements. Their purpose is administrative. Records need updating. Measurements need confirming. Taxes need reviewing. The arrival of officials often draws attention. Not fear exactly. More a sense of importance. Their visits remind people that local life exists within a much larger system. The farmer in his field. The fisherman on the river. The baker preparing bread. All are connected to structures that reach far beyond their villages. One official carries a collection of records carefully protected from dust. The information inside matters. How much grain was harvested? How much land was cultivated? Which families owe certain obligations? Numbers become part of daily life. Even for people who never learned to read. The records influence taxes. Labor assignments. Storage requirements. The kingdom depends upon organization. As the officials approach a village, children notice them first. Children often notice everything first. They pause in their games and watch from a distance. Soon word spreads among adults. The officials are arriving. The village continues its routines, but attention quietly shifts. A farmer wipes his hands and prepares to answer questions. A local supervisor gathers documents. A scribe arranges writing materials. The visit becomes another small event within the larger rhythm of the season. Nothing dramatic. Simply another part of life. Under the shade of a tree near the village center, discussions begin. Measurements are reviewed. Figures are compared. Questions are asked. Answers are recorded. The process moves slowly. Carefully. Accuracy matters. A mistake today may create problems later. The officials know this. The villagers know this. Patience becomes part of the process. Nearby, daily life continues almost unchanged. Women carry water. Children help with household tasks. Craftsmen continue working. Animals move lazily through shaded areas. The kingdom's administrative system operates alongside ordinary routines. The two are closely connected. One cannot exist without the other. Farther down the river, a market experiences the slower pace of afternoon. The busiest hours have passed. Customers still arrive, but less frequently. Merchants sit beside their goods and wait. Some repair baskets. Some organize supplies. Some simply watch people passing through. The shade covering the market area creates a welcome refuge from the sun. Conversations drip through the air. News travels this way. A merchant speaks about conditions in another settlement. Someone else mentions changes in river levels. Another discusses crop expectations. Information spreads naturally. Person to person. Village to village. Boat to boat. The kingdom may be large, but people remain connected through countless small interactions. A potter sits quietly beside finished vessels. Rows of carefully shaped pottery stand nearby. The surfaces catch the afternoon light. The potter studies his work with satisfaction. Each piece represents hours of effort. Preparation. Shaping. Drying. Firing. Patience has transformed simple clay into something useful. Someone will carry water in these vessels. Someone will store grain. Someone will prepare food. The potter's work will become part of daily life inside homes he may never visit. There is something comforting about that. Creating objects that quietly serve others. The afternoon drifts onward. The heat begins to lose some of its intensity. Not much. Just enough for people to notice. A breeze arrives from the direction of the river. Workers lift their heads. The air feels cooler. The change is small, but welcome. A fisherman standing beside his boat closes his eyes briefly as the breeze passes. The scent of water accompanies it. River mud. Wet reeds. Fresh air. The Nile announces its presence even from a distance. For many Egyptians, that scent feels like home. It has accompanied them throughout their lives. Throughout childhood. Through adulthood. Through old age. The river shapes everything. The afternoon light gradually softens. Shadows begin growing longer once again. The landscape changes almost without notice. A farmer glances at the sun and realizes more of the day has passed than he expected. Hours disappear quickly when work fills them. Tasks lead naturally into other tasks. One job completed reveals another waiting nearby. This rhythm has existed for generations. Parents teach it to children. Children eventually teach it to their own children. The cycle continues. Inside a modest mud-brick home, preparations for the evening slowly begin. A woman examines stored grain. Another family member gathers fuel for cooking. A child helps organize baskets. The household moves toward the next stage of the day. Evening may still be some distance away, but preparation starts early. Experienced households know the value of planning ahead. The work feels familiar. Comfortably familiar. Routine often brings a sense of stability. The same tasks. The same tools. The same pathways through the village. Life may be demanding, but it is predictable in many ways. Predictability offers comfort. An elderly man sits near a doorway watching the afternoon unfold. He notices details others often overlook. The changing angle of sunlight. The movement of birds above the river. The way children gradually drift closer to home as the day progresses. Age brings perspective. The old man has witnessed countless afternoons just like this one. And yet each remains unique. Each contains different conversations. Different weather. Different visitors. Different memories. Time moves slowly in some ways. Quickly in others. Across the village, workers begin thinking about rest. Not immediately. There is still labor to complete. But the thought appears. A quiet awareness that evening is approaching. The knowledge provides encouragement. A laborer lifting supplies imagines sitting beside his family later. A fisherman imagines cooler air near the riverbank. A woman preparing food imagines the moment when everyone gathers to eat. Simple comforts become powerful motivations, especially after long hours of effort. The sunlight grows warmer in color. Golden tones begin replacing the harsh brightness of midday. Palm trees cast longer shadows. The Nile reflects softer light. Birds become more active again. The entire landscape seems to relax. Not completely. Work continues. But the day feels less demanding than it did a few hours earlier. A merchant begins packing certain goods. A craftsman completes one final task before stopping. A farmer checks a field one last time. People naturally prepare for transition. The kingdom begins moving toward evening. Slowly. Gently. Without hurry. The same way the river moves. The same way the sun crosses the sky. The same way generations pass from one to another. And so the afternoon continues beside the Nile, where ordinary Egyptians carry out their duties beneath the fading heat, guided by habit, responsibility, and traditions older than memory, while the warm light of approaching evening slowly spreads across the ancient land. The afternoon gradually softens into evening. The fierce brightness that dominated the middle of the day slowly begins to loosen its grip on the land. The sun still shines warmly across Egypt, but the harshness fades little by little. Long shadows stretch across fields, roads, and village pathways. Workers notice the change immediately. A cooler breeze moves across the Nile. The air becomes easier to breathe. The promise of rest begins to feel real. Across the countryside, countless ordinary people continue their final tasks of the day. A farmer walks slowly along the edge of a field. His work is nearly finished. He studies the crops one last time before leaving. The plants sway gently in the evening breeze. The irrigation channels continue carrying water where it is needed. Everything appears in order. The farmer feels a quiet sense of satisfaction. There is always more work waiting tomorrow. There is always another task beyond the current one. But today's responsibilities have been fulfilled. That is enough for now. He gathers his tools. The wood feels smooth from years of use. Every mark upon the handle tells a story of labor. Every worn edge reflects countless days spent beneath the sun. The tools are simple, reliable, familiar, like old companions. As he begins the walk home, other farmers emerge from nearby fields. Some travel alone. Some walk beside family members. Voices drift through the evening air. The conversations are calm. People discuss harvests, weather, neighbors, small events from the day. Nothing urgent. Nothing dramatic. Just the ordinary exchanges that bind communities together. Dust rises softly beneath their sandals. The road glows golden beneath the lowering sun. Along the Nile, fishermen return toward shore. Their boats move steadily through calm water. The river reflects the colors of evening. Gold, orange, soft shades of red. The surface appears almost like polished metal. One fisherman sits quietly near the bow of his boat. The day has been long. His muscles ache pleasantly from work. His hands smell faintly of river water and nets. He watches birds crossing the sky above him. The sight feels peaceful. These evening journeys often become moments of reflection. The urgency of the day has passed. The work is complete. Only the return home remains. Near the riverbank, families begin gathering to greet those arriving from the water. Children wave excitedly. Dogs bark. Voices call across the shoreline. The atmosphere feels warm and welcoming. The fishermen pull boats onto shore and begin organizing their catches. Tomorrow's preparations quietly begin even before today's work fully ends. Such is the rhythm of life. One day always leads naturally into the next. Not far from the river, smoke rises from cooking fires throughout the village. The scent of bread fills the air once again. Food preparation becomes the center of household activity. Inside a mud-brick home, a woman kneads dough while speaking softly with her daughter. The room feels cooler now than it did during midday. Light enters through the doorway in long golden beams. Dust particles drift lazily through the air. Everything feels calm. The daughter watches carefully. She studies each movement. How much water to add. How the dough should feel beneath the hands. How long it should be worked. Knowledge passes quietly between generations. No formal lesson is announced. No ceremony takes place. The learning happens naturally. One task at a time. One evening at a time. One year at a time. Nearby, an elderly grandmother sits against a wall. She listens to the conversation while weaving a small basket. Her hands move slowly now. Age has reduced her speed. Yet the skill remains. The basket gradually takes shape. The work comforts her. There is satisfaction in creating useful things. There is satisfaction in remaining part of daily life. Outside, children play in open areas between homes. The heat no longer drives them into shade. Their energy seems endless. They chase one another across dusty ground. They invent games. They laugh freely. For a little while, the burdens of adulthood feel very far away. The adults watch with quiet amusement. Many remember similar evenings from their own childhoods. The same games. The same dusty paths. The same fading sunlight. Generations pass, yet certain moments remain unchanged. As evening deepens, workers continue returning home. Craftsmen leave workshops. Merchants secure goods for the night. Laborers finish final assignments. The pace of the village shifts. Public activity gradually gives way to private life. Families reunite. Meals are shared. Stories are exchanged. A young scribe rolls up the last of his documents. His eyes feel tired after hours of careful work. Numbers and records have occupied his attention throughout the day. Now he prepares to return home. The transition feels welcome. Though his labor differs from that of farmers and fishermen, fatigue still arrives. Mental concentration creates its own kind of exhaustion. He stores his materials carefully. Papyrus is valuable. Ink is valuable. Accuracy is valuable. Everything has its place. Order remains important. Even at the end of the day. The scribe steps outside and pauses. The evening sky stretches above him. The colors are beautiful. Soft orange fading toward blue. Birds crossing the horizon. Palm trees outlined against the light. For a moment he simply stands and watches. There is no rush. The records can wait until tomorrow. The kingdom will continue. The Nile will continue. Tonight belongs to rest. Near the center of the village, a local official concludes a final discussion with several workers. The day's administrative tasks are complete. Measurements have been reviewed. Reports have been recorded. Questions have been answered. The official gathers his documents and prepares to leave. Even those responsible for maintaining order eventually return to ordinary routines. Everyone becomes part of evening. Everyone moves toward home. As the sun lowers further, shadows grow long and dramatic. The landscape transforms. Fields that seemed bright and endless during midday now appear softer. Gentler. The air carries the scent of earth cooling after a long day. The Nile reflects the sky like a mirror. Birdsong changes as evening approaches. Animals settle into quieter patterns. The entire world seems to exhale. Inside homes, meals begin. Families gather wherever space allows. Bread is shared. Vegetables are prepared. Fish may appear on some tables. Dates provide sweetness when available. The meals are simple. Yet simplicity often brings comfort. After a day of labor, familiar food feels deeply satisfying. A father sits beside his children and listens as they describe small events from the day. One child talks about helping carry water. Another speaks about seeing a bird's nest near the river. The stories are modest. Yet they matter. Daily life is built from such moments. The father smiles and listens carefully. Soon enough these children will be adults. Soon enough they will carry their own responsibilities. For now, they are simply children enjoying the safety of home. Outside, darkness begins gathering at the edges of the landscape. The first stars appear overhead. One by one. Quiet points of light emerging from the deepening blue. People notice them. Some pause to look upward. Others continue conversations while glancing occasionally toward the sky. The stars have accompanied humanity for countless generations. They feel familiar. Reliable. A steady presence above an ever-changing world. Near the riverbank, a fisherman remains seated beside his boat. He has already finished organizing his equipment. There is nothing left to do. So he watches the water. Gentle ripples move across the surface. The evening breeze continues blowing softly. The river carries faint reflections of the first stars. The fisherman feels tired. Comfortably tired. The kind of tiredness that follows honest work. Tomorrow will bring another sunrise. Another day. Another cycle of labor. But not yet. For now, evening belongs to stillness. For now, the river belongs to quiet thoughts. For now, Egypt settles gently into the peaceful hours between work and sleep. Across villages, fields, workshops, and riverbanks, ordinary people move through familiar evening rituals shaped by tradition and necessity. Lamps are prepared. Doors remain open to welcome cool air. Conversations continue softly beneath the darkening sky. And as the final glow of sunlight fades beyond the horizon, the ancient world becomes calmer with every passing moment, while the Nile flows silently through the gathering dusk, carrying the lives of countless ordinary Egyptians toward another tranquil night. The last light of day slowly disappears. The western horizon holds a faint glow for a little while longer, but even that gentle brightness eventually fades into the growing darkness. Across Egypt, evening settles fully over the land. The Nile continues its quiet journey beneath the deepening sky. The river seems different at night. During the day it reflects sunlight and movement. At night it reflects stars. Its waters become darker, calmer, and somehow more mysterious. Yet to the people who live beside it, the Nile remains familiar. A constant companion. A presence woven into every stage of life. Along the riverbanks, the sounds of labor have almost completely vanished. The scraping of tools. The movement of carts. The calls of workers. All have faded away. In their place come softer sounds. Voices drifting from homes. The crackle of cooking fires. The distant bark of a dog. The quiet rustle of reeds moving in the breeze. The atmosphere feels peaceful. The long demands of the day are finally over. Inside a modest mud-brick home, a family remains gathered around the final moments of the evening meal. An oil lamp flickers nearby. Its flame dances gently whenever a breeze enters through the doorway. The warm light casts moving shadows across the walls. The room feels comfortable despite its simplicity. Storage jars line one side. Woven baskets rest in a corner. A few carefully maintained tools lean against a wall. Nothing appears extravagant. Yet everything has value. Every object serves a purpose. The family speaks quietly. The day's work is finished now. There is no need for loud voices. The father describes a small repair completed in the field. The mother discusses supplies that may need replacing soon. An older child listens carefully. Learning often happens during these conversations. Practical knowledge passes naturally between generations. The child learns how adults solve problems. How responsibilities are managed. How decisions are made. These lessons become part of growing up. Outside, the village pathways grow quieter. Most people have returned home. A few neighbors remain seated outside doorways enjoying the cooler air. The heat that dominated the afternoon has finally retreated. The night breeze feels refreshing. People welcome it gladly. A group of elderly villagers sits together beneath the stars. Their conversations move slowly. There is no hurry. One man remembers a particularly large Nile flood from decades ago. Another recalls a season of abundant harvests. The stories unfold gently. No one interrupts. Everyone listens. The memories belong not just to individuals but to the community itself. The younger generation occasionally joins these gatherings. Children sit nearby and absorb pieces of history without fully realizing it. The old stories become part of local identity. Part of the shared memory of the village. Not far away, a young servant finishes his final tasks of the evening. Water jars have been filled. Floors have been swept. Household items have been organized. His responsibilities are complete for today. Fatigue settles into his arms and legs. He stretches quietly before preparing a place to sleep. Tomorrow will begin early. It always does. Yet for now, rest is close. The thought itself feels comforting. Across Egypt, countless workers experience the same feeling. The satisfaction of reaching the end of another day. A day that demanded effort. A day that required patience. A day successfully completed. Near a storage building, a watchman begins his nightly patrol. His lamp provides a small circle of light in the darkness. The flame flickers as he walks. His footsteps are slow and steady. Storage facilities remain important. Grain reserves support communities through difficult times. Protecting them is a serious responsibility. The watchman understands this. Yet his work is often peaceful. Most nights pass quietly. He walks familiar paths. Checks familiar doors. Listens to familiar sounds. The stars accompany him overhead. The Nile murmurs softly nearby. The night itself feels calm. Along a rooftop, several family members prepare to sleep beneath the open sky. During warmer months, rooftops can provide relief from the lingering heat trapped inside homes. Sleeping outside allows cooler air to circulate freely. Woven mats are arranged carefully. Blankets are folded nearby. A young girl lies on her back and gazes upward. The stars seem endless. Thousands upon thousands scattered across the heavens. She points toward a bright star and asks her grandmother about it. The older woman answers softly. The explanation blends observation, tradition, and stories passed down through generations. The child listens with wide eyes. Soon her eyelids grow heavy. The stars remain bright above her. But sleep arrives before long. The conversation fades into dreams. Near the river, fishermen inspect equipment one final time before resting. Nets are folded. Ropes are coiled. Boats are secured. Preparation tonight makes tomorrow easier. The fishermen know this from experience. Life often rewards careful planning. A neglected rope can create trouble later. A damaged net can waste valuable time. Small tasks completed now prevent larger problems tomorrow. The work takes only a few minutes. Then the fishermen sit quietly beside the water. The river reflects the moon. Silver light ripples across the surface. The scene feels timeless. Perhaps their fathers sat here. Perhaps their grandfathers did the same. The Nile has witnessed countless evenings like this one. Generations arriving at the river after long days of labor. Generations finding comfort in its steady presence. In another part of the village, a woman carefully repairs a piece of clothing by lamplight. The household is mostly asleep. The room is quiet. Only the occasional scrape of a needle breaks the silence. The work requires patience. Her eyes feel tired. Her hands move more slowly than they did earlier. Still, she continues for a little while longer. Repairing clothing now may save time tomorrow. Eventually she finishes. The needle is set aside. The lamp is lowered. Darkness gradually fills the room. Across the kingdom, similar scenes unfold. Families settle. Children sleep. Workers rest. Animals grow quiet. The busy world of daylight retreats into silence. Yet even during these peaceful hours, Egypt's strict structure remains quietly present. Tomorrow, farmers will return to fields. Officials will review records. Merchants will reopen stalls. Laborers will continue assigned work. The expectations of society never fully disappear. They simply sleep alongside everyone else. For most ordinary people, these rules feel as permanent as the river. As natural as the seasons. As familiar as the stars. People are born into them. They grow within them. They build lives around them. And often, they find moments of happiness within them as well. A child laughing with friends. A shared evening meal. A cool breeze after a hot day. A successful harvest. A peaceful night beside the Nile. Life is not only labor. It is also these quieter moments. These simple comforts. These small blessings that make difficult days easier to bear. As the night deepens, silence spreads across the village. One by one, lamps disappear. One by one, conversations end. The moon climbs higher overhead. The stars seem brighter. The pathways empty. The world grows still. Only the river continues moving. Always moving. Always flowing northward through the darkness. Its waters pass sleeping villages. Sleeping fishermen. Sleeping farmers. Sleeping children. The Nile carries moonlight upon its surface and whispers softly through the night. And beneath the vast Egyptian sky, ordinary people rest peacefully after another day shaped by duty, routine, and tradition, while the ancient river watches over them in the calm and comforting silence before another dawn. The night remains calm for many hours. Above the Nile, the moon slowly travels across the sky. Its pale light touches rooftops, palm trees, quiet roads, and sleeping fields. The world feels softer beneath the moonlight. The sharp edges of daytime seem to disappear. Most people are asleep now. The village rests. The river flows. The stars watch silently overhead. A cool breeze moves through narrow pathways between homes. It slips through open doorways and across flat rooftops where some families sleep beneath the open sky. Inside one modest home, 3 generations share the same space. An elderly grandfather sleeps near the wall. His son rests nearby. Children lie sleeping beside their parents. Such arrangements are common. Homes are often crowded. Space is valuable. Families live closely together. Daily life is shared. Meals are shared. Work is shared. Responsibilities are shared. Even sleep often takes place side by side. The closeness creates strong bonds. People know one another's habits. They know one another's strengths and weaknesses. They know who rises first. Who works hardest. Who tells the best stories. Family becomes the center around which life turns. Outside, the village remains almost silent. A dog lifts its head briefly before settling again. Somewhere near the river, a bird calls once in the darkness. Then quiet returns. The watchman continues his slow rounds. His lamp glows softly. The light creates small moving shadows along walls and pathways. Most nights are uneventful. Tonight is no different. He checks storage buildings. He walks familiar routes. He listens carefully. The responsibility may seem simple, but it matters. Communities depend upon security. Grain stores must be protected. Supplies must remain safe. Order must be maintained. The watchman understands that his work forms one small part of a much larger system. Every task matters. Every role contributes. As the deepest hours of the night begin to pass, the stars slowly shift across the heavens. The sky remains dark, but subtle changes are already underway. Morning is still distant. Yet time never stands still. The Nile continues flowing. The earth continues turning. Another day approaches. In a larger household nearby, a young woman wakes briefly and listens to the sounds around her. For a moment she hears nothing at all. Only silence. Then she hears the faint movement of the breeze outside. The soft breathing of family members. The distant murmur of the river. The sounds comfort her. They are familiar. The same sounds she heard as a child. The same sounds she will likely hear many years from now. Life in ancient Egypt contains uncertainty, but it also contains repetition. Certain things remain dependable. The river returns. The sun rises. Families gather. Bread is baked. Fields are tended. The cycle continues. The woman closes her eyes and soon drifts back to sleep. Hours later, before the first hint of dawn appears, movement begins once again. At first it is almost impossible to notice. One person wakes. Then another. A lamp flickers to life inside a home. A door opens quietly. The village begins its slow awakening. The earliest risers often have the longest responsibilities. A mother sits beside a grinding stone. The task awaits her exactly where she left it the previous evening. Grain must become flour. Flour must become bread. The household depends upon this work. Her hands begin moving. Back and forth. Back and forth. The familiar sound returns to the darkness before sunrise. Soon other homes join in. The village fills with gentle rhythms. Grinding stones. Soft footsteps. Quiet voices. The sounds of another day being prepared. These routines have existed for generations. Mothers teach daughters. Grandmothers teach granddaughters. Skills pass from one person to another. Not through written lessons. Through observation. Through participation. Through years of practice. A young girl watches carefully as her mother works. She has seen the process many times. One day she will perform these tasks herself. The knowledge is already taking root. Across Egypt, countless lessons are taught this way. Children learn not only skills but expectations. They learn what is required of them. They learn where they fit within family and community. Social rules often begin at home. Respect for elders. Responsibility toward relatives. Obligations to family members. These ideas become part of daily life from an early age. A child may not think of them as rules. They simply seem natural. This is how things are done. This is how life works. As more people wake, the village gradually fills with activity. The eastern horizon remains dark. The stars still shine overhead. Yet signs of life appear everywhere. Water jars are carried. Cooking fires are prepared. Animals begin stirring. The air smells faintly of smoke and earth. A father steps outside and stretches. His body feels stiff from yesterday's labor. His muscles remind him of every field crossed and every tool lifted. Such discomfort is common. Most workers carry aches and pains that never fully disappear. The body adapts to hard work, but it also remembers it. Still, there is little time to dwell on discomfort. The day awaits. Nearby, a young boy helps prepare a donkey for work. The animal blinks sleepily in the darkness. The boy moves carefully. He has performed this task many times. Responsibility arrives early in life. Children often assist wherever they can. Their contributions may seem small at first. Yet small contributions become larger ones over time. Gradually, children grow into adults capable of carrying full responsibilities. Marriage often marks another important transition in life. For many Egyptians, adulthood brings new duties, new expectations, new roles within the community. A young married couple may begin building a household together. They may share responsibilities, plan for children, work towards stability. Their lives become linked not only to one another but to the wider network of family and community. Marriage is not simply a private relationship. It is part of the social fabric, part of the structure that helps communities endure. Inside one home, a husband and wife quietly discuss the coming day while preparing food. Their conversation is practical. Supplies need replacing. Work needs completing. Relatives may require assistance. The discussion reflects everyday concerns. Ancient life is often built around practical decisions. How much grain remains? How much work lies ahead? How resources should be managed? These small decisions shape the future more than grand events ever could. As dawn approaches, the sky begins to change. The stars lose a little brightness. The horizon softens. Birds stir among the reeds beside the Nile. The river reflects the first hints of coming light. The village grows busier. Doors open more frequently. Voices become easier to hear. People move with purpose. The transition from night to day feels smooth, almost seamless. No sudden beginning. Just a gradual awakening. A return to routine. A return to responsibility. The same cycle that unfolded yesterday. The same cycle that will unfold tomorrow. Yet each day remains slightly different. Different conversations. Different weather. Different tasks. Different moments. That subtle variation keeps life moving forward. A farmer walks toward his field while the world is still painted in shades of gray and blue. The air feels cool. Pleasant. He enjoys these early moments. The heat has not arrived. The roads remain quiet. The day still feels full of possibility. He passes neighbors heading toward their own responsibilities. A few greetings are exchanged. Nothing elaborate. Just simple acknowledgements between people who share the same routines. The same challenges. The same landscape. As the first edge of the sun finally approaches the horizon, golden light begins spreading across the Nile. The water brightens. Palm trees emerge clearly from the shadows. Village walls glow softly. The world awakens once more. And across ancient Egypt, ordinary people step into another day shaped by family obligations, community expectations, and traditions handed down through countless generations, while the timeless river continues flowing beside them, steady and patient beneath the growing light of dawn. The first sunlight spreads across the Nile like a thin ribbon of gold. Morning arrives gently. The darkness retreats from the fields. The rooftops brighten. The narrow village paths emerge from shadow. A new day begins much as the previous one ended, with ordinary people moving quietly through familiar routines. The river reflects the early light. Its surface appears smooth and calm. A few birds skim low above the water. Their reflections flicker briefly before disappearing. The air still holds some of the coolness of night. Many workers treasure these early hours. Before the heat arrives. Before the long labor begins. Before the sun dominates the sky. In a small village beside the river, a baker tends a fire that has already been burning for some time. The warmth from the oven mixes with the cool morning air. Fresh dough waits nearby. The baker works carefully. Every household depends upon food. Every village depends upon those who know how to prepare it. The scent of baking bread gradually spreads through the settlement. People notice it immediately. The smell feels reassuring. It signals the beginning of another ordinary day. Children notice it first. A young boy steps outside and inhales deeply. His stomach is already awake. He glances toward the baker's home and smiles. Soon breakfast will be ready. Soon the day will truly begin. Nearby, a farmer and his daughter walk toward a field together. The path is familiar beneath their feet. Dust rises softly with each step. The daughter carries a small basket. The father carries tools worn smooth by years of use. Neither speaks much. The morning itself feels enough. The sounds around them are gentle. Birds calling from reeds. Water moving quietly through irrigation channels. The distant voices of neighbors beginning their own work. The father pauses briefly and points toward a section of field. He explains something about the crops. The daughter listens carefully. Knowledge often travels this way. One conversation at a time. One morning at a time. The lessons may seem small, but over years they become a lifetime of understanding. The daughter learns not only how to farm. She learns patience, observation, responsibility. The values that help communities endure. Farther down the river, fishermen are already preparing nets. The morning light reflects from wet ropes. The boats rock gently against the shore. One fisherman kneels beside a net, carefully repairing a damaged section. His fingers move steadily. The work requires concentration. A small tear today could become a larger problem tomorrow. Attention to detail matters. Ancient life often rewards careful preparation. The fisherman learned this long ago. His father taught him. And his father learned it from someone before him. The chain stretches back through generations. Across Egypt, similar chains connect people to the past. Families pass down skills. Communities pass down customs. Traditions survive because they are practiced every day. As the sun rises higher, village activity increases. The roads fill with movement. Merchants begin arranging goods. Craftsmen open workshops. Children carry water jars. Animals are guided toward grazing areas. The settlement feels alive now. Every corner contains some form of activity. Yet the pace remains calm. Steady. Measured. No one rushes unnecessarily. The day is long. Energy must be used wisely. Inside a workshop, a carpenter begins his work. Wood is precious in Egypt. Large trees are less common than in many other lands. Good wood often travels long distances before reaching craftsmen. The carpenter understands its value. He studies each piece carefully before making a cut. Nothing should be wasted. Every fragment has potential use. His tools rest neatly nearby. The workshop smells of wood shavings and dust. Sunlight enters through an opening in the wall. Thin beams of light illuminate floating particles. The scene feels peaceful despite the labor. The carpenter works quietly. His concentration becomes almost meditative. Nearby, another craftsman shapes stone. The sound echoes softly through the morning air. Tap. Pause. Tap. Pause. The rhythm continues. Many Egyptian workers spend years mastering a single craft. Their lives become deeply connected to their materials. Stone. Wood. Clay. Metal. Each material demands patience. Each material teaches lessons. The craftsman learns to recognize subtle differences. A slight weakness. A hidden flaw. A promising piece. Experience sharpens perception. The knowledge cannot be rushed. It grows slowly over time. Near the center of the village, a local official reviews records with a scribe. The documents contain details about fields, harvests, and obligations. The official studies them carefully. Organization helps maintain stability. Without records, confusion grows. Without information, decisions become difficult. The work may seem distant from farming or fishing. Yet it affects both. The official's records connect directly to the lives of ordinary people. A measured field. A counted harvest. A recorded tax. The information eventually influences real households, real families, real workers. The scribe dips a reed into ink and continues writing. His hand moves smoothly across papyrus. Years of practice have made the motion natural. Writing requires patience, care, attention. Mistakes are inconvenient. Accuracy matters. The young scribe knows this well. He focuses completely on his task. Outside, life continues around him. But his attention remains on the page. As the morning advances, the village becomes warmer. The coolness of dawn fades. People notice the change. Workers adjust clothing. Children seek shade whenever possible. The sun begins asserting its presence. A woman carrying water pauses beneath a tree. The shade feels pleasant. She rests briefly before continuing. The water jars are heavy. Her shoulders ache. Yet she does not complain. Such tasks are part of life. They always have been. Nearby, several children help carry smaller containers. Their loads are lighter, but the lessons are important. Responsibility grows gradually. Children learn by participating, by helping, by observing. The work teaches patience, endurance, cooperation. Across Egypt, countless families follow similar patterns. A grandmother teaches weaving. A father teaches farming. An aunt teaches cooking. An uncle teaches fishing. Knowledge flows through families like water through irrigation channels. Slowly, steadily, reliably. The process rarely attracts attention. Yet it shapes entire generations. Near the riverbank, a merchant prepares for travel. Bundles are secured. Supplies are checked. The journey ahead may take several days. Travel requires planning. Roads can be dusty. Conditions can be difficult. Yet merchants accept these challenges. Trade connects communities. Without merchants, villages become isolated. Goods become scarce. Information travels more slowly. The merchant finishes his preparations and looks toward the river. Boats move quietly through the morning light. The Nile stretches beyond sight in both directions. A pathway through the heart of Egypt. A lifeline connecting countless lives. The merchant feels a sense of respect for the river. Most people do. Its importance is impossible to ignore. As the morning continues, the village settles fully into its daily rhythm. The early quiet has disappeared. Work now fills the hours. The sounds of labor spread through every corner. Grinding stones. Hammering tools. Voices exchanging instructions. Animals moving through enclosures. Water flowing through canals. Together they create the soundtrack of ordinary life. Nothing dramatic. Nothing extraordinary. Simply the steady sounds of people doing what must be done. The sun climbs higher. The air grows warmer. The day stretches ahead. Across fields, workshops, homes, and riverbanks, ordinary Egyptians continue fulfilling responsibilities shaped by family, tradition, and the expectations of society. Their lives may never appear in royal inscriptions. Their names may never be carved into monuments. Yet they are the ones who keep the kingdom alive. The ones who grow food, build homes, repair boats, raise children, carry water, record information, bake bread. And as another Egyptian morning unfolds beneath the widening sky, these ordinary people continue moving through their familiar routines, guided by habits older than memory, while the Nile flows quietly beside them, steady as ever beneath the warm and growing light of day. And now, as our long journey through ancient Egypt gently draws toward rest, the day begins to fade one final time. The sun slowly lowers toward the western horizon. Golden light spreads across the Nile. The river glows softly beneath the evening sky. Fields that were busy only hours before become quiet. Tools are gathered. Boats return to shore. Workshop doors close. The sounds of labor gradually disappear into the distance. Across the villages that line the riverbanks, ordinary families make their way home. A farmer walks beside his children. A fisherman carries his nets. A baker finishes the last loaves of the day. A scribe rolls up his records and extinguishes a lamp. The routines are familiar, comforting, unchanging in many ways. For countless generations, people have moved through these same rhythms. Waking before sunrise. Working beneath the heat. Sharing simple meals. Resting beneath the stars. Living within traditions that shaped every part of daily life. The great monuments of Egypt still stand in memory. The temples. The statues. The tombs. But tonight, they seem far away. Instead, we remember the ordinary people. The people who carried water from the Nile. The people who baked bread before dawn. The people who repaired fishing nets by lamplight. The people who walked dusty roads beneath the desert sun. The people whose names have long been forgotten, yet whose lives filled the ancient world with quiet purpose. As darkness settles across the land, the evening breeze moves through reeds along the riverbank. Palm trees sway gently. Birds settle into silence. The Nile continues flowing northward beneath the stars. A few lamps still glow inside mud-brick homes. Warm circles of light shine briefly through open doorways. Families gather close. Children grow sleepy. Conversations become softer. One by one, the lamps are extinguished. One by one, the voices fade. The village grows still. The roads empty. The workshops rest. The fields wait patiently for another sunrise. Above it all, the night sky stretches endlessly across the heavens. The stars shine with quiet certainty. The same stars that watched over farmers, over fishermen, over merchants, over children sleeping beside cool mud-brick walls. The same stars that reflected upon the waters of the Nile thousands of years ago. The river flows on. Steady. Calm. Unhurried. Its waters slip through the darkness carrying moonlight upon their surface. The sound is soft. Almost like a whisper. A gentle reminder that time continues moving, even when the world sleeps. And now the ancient land itself seems to grow quieter. The warm air cools. The river murmurs softly. The stars drift overhead. The village sleeps. The workers sleep. The children sleep. The Nile keeps watch beneath the moon. And beside that timeless river, in the peaceful silence of an Egyptian night, the world slowly fades into stillness. The water moves gently through the darkness. The breeze brushes the reeds. The stars remain above. And all is calm. All is quiet. All is at rest.